It's unusual, but because of the multimedia aspect of the show tonight, I'm actually using a set list. And, God. Well, I'll do this one. That's not what I had in mind. Let's see. Last night I dreamed I won a Grammy. That's presented to me by Debbie Harry. I ran up on stage in my tux. I gulped and I said, "Oh, shucks. I'd like to thank my producer and Jesus Christ." Those lyrics are from the Grammy song, which appeared on my 9th album, 1983's Fame and Wealth. Thank you very much. I've been bouncing around the music business for about 14 years and had experienced some success and some failure, or as they used to say on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. At that time, it seemed highly unlikely that I would ever win a Grammy Award, and for years I watched others on TV bounding up on stage to collect their little statues. People in groups like Paul Simon and Stevie Wonder and Fleetwood Mac, they all struck me as being from an entirely different planet. They were stars in the music business, whereas I was merely a puny asteroid, relegated to the far periphery of the rock and roll galaxy. This is pretty good, don't you think? Gave me a standing ovation. I shed tears of joy, I shed tears of elation. Behind the podium there, Debbie grabbed my derriere. I'd like to thank my producer and Jesus Christ. Then, wonder of wonders, in 1986, they created a Grammy category called Best Contemporary Folk Album, and I was nominated for my record, I'm All Right. I rented a tuxedo. I bought 2 round-trip tickets to the ceremony in Los Angeles, which was held at the Shrine Auditorium. My date, who happens to be with us here tonight, was Suzy Roach. And we were both pretty excited. Because of the time difference on the West Coast, Suzy and I were in our seats at the Shrine early the next afternoon. Way early, because the Best Contemporary Folk Album Award was presented a few hours before the telecast even began. And the new category was pretty low on the Grammy totem pole, 51 or 2-ish, right after Best Poker Record. Suz and I were up in the nosebleed seats, looking down on the assembled wattage. Peter Gabriel was there, Steve Winwood, a particularly tensed up wannabe winner, the aforementioned Paul Simon. I admit, I too was pretty nervous. And the Best Contemporary Folk Album goes to Steve Goodman. Shit! Oh, well, I love Steve Goodman. He was a friend of mine. We played a lot in the 70s, and he deserved it, and there was an important extenuating circumstance. Tragically, Steve had died of leukemia in 1984, way too early at the age of 36, and the Grammy-winning record was a tribute album featuring other artists doing Steve's songs. It was a beautiful thing for his wife Nancy and their three daughters that Steve should win that afternoon. The next day, Suz and I flew back to New York, somewhat chastened, but in no way devastated. After all, I'd been nominated. Then, a few years later, I put out an album called More Love Songs. I was nominated again. The ceremony was held here in New York that year at the Radio City Music Hall, so I didn't have to spring for plane tickets. I figured I was a shoo-in. More Love Songs was a great record. I'd been nominated 2 times in a row. It had to be my year. But there was a dark horse in the pack. Or should I say, a dead horse. Yes! Another posthumous Steve Goodman album was nominated and in the running, ominously entitled Unfinished Business. Folks, they gave the Grammy to the dead guy twice! This time, there was not a scintilla of charity in my heart for the dearly departed Steve. He was dead, and I was pissed. In the weeks that followed, things went fine for me. An Oscar, a Tony, and an Emmy. Bo Derek and Barbara Mandrell, Meryl Streep and Tammy Terrell, Joan Rivers and Lana Cantrell, a Pulitzer and a Nobel, 5 gold and 1 bronze as well. I'd like to thank my producer and Jesus Christ. Now there is a kind of happy ending postscript to my tale. In 2010, my album High, Wide and Handsome was nominated for a Grammy. The ceremony was held back in LA, and I flew out there with my friend Dick Connett, and that afternoon, I finally walked off with the hardware. Well, the victory felt especially sweet because not only had it been a long and torturous journey to get the Grammy, but one of the other nominees in the category was my old Saratoga Springs pal, Bruce Utah Phillips. Bruce had died in 2008. And his record was a tribute album. Yeah, it sounds churlish. Awful, I know. But I finally beat the dead guy.